This is Dr. Z, and today we're going to be talking about the basics of lists from Chapter 4. Lists in Python are sequences of linearly ordered values. Each value has a location called an index number. Python is a zero-based indexing language. That means the first position in the list is numbered 0, not 1. Many computer programming languages have zero-based indexing. MATLAB is a language that has a 1-based index, where the first one is 1, but Python and in fact most languages you'll be using are 0-based. We did see lists previously using the range function for for loops, so we're going to be going through basic things of lists. Basic things you can do with lists: you can retrieve an item, you can update a list, you can insert into a list, you can remove something from a list, and you can append something to a list. And then one step up from that, we'll also be looking at slicing a list and traversing a list. These are all talked about graphics in the Chapter 4 PDF, so I do recommend you look at those also. But we're going to start this way. Now, something that, depending on your screen resolution, I will make sure to read it out loud, but the difference between using square brackets and parentheses are very important with lists. So let's go ahead and start getting my various things out of the way. Okay, so let's make a list. I will call it this list. Square brackets. Lists, when you define them, use square brackets. And I'm just going to pick random numbers. 3, 6, -8, 12, 5. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things in this list. Now, if you try to just print the list, like so, it will do it. And it will show 3, 6, 8, 12, 5, and 9. To retrieve an item from a list, you want to use the index for the list. So for example, print this list parentheses, square brackets again. It's different in different programming languages. Square brackets 2. If you're watching this at home, pause it for just a second and, looking at this list, guess which one is the index of 2. Okay, so remember that starts counting at 0. So this is position 0, position 1. This is position 2. Oops, the -8. So it should print -8, and it does. If you want to get the last item on the list, but you don't know how long the list is, you can use index -1. This will give you that 9. Index -1 gives the last item on the list. This is useful if you don't know how long the list is, but you know you need the last one. Okay, that is retrieving an element from a list. You can also, of course, do print this list 0, which will do the first one. 3. Also, if you do something like print this list -2, and I get the parentheses in the right direction, it's going to give you the second to last one, 5. So you can use the negatives to count backwards. Okay, now what happens if you try to index something too long? Print this list 10, because that's way too long. Index error, list index out of range. If you ever see this error, list index out of range, that means you're trying to access something in a list that is past the end of the list. In this case, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the last position on the list, so anything past 5 will give an error. I will there and just note this will give an error, index error, list index out of range. Okay, that's retrieving. Now, new code block. Update. You can change a value in a list. If you do so, that entry will be permanently changed. In other words, if you do this, it doesn't keep the old one. So if I go this list, let's say position 3, make that 100. And then let me print the whole list first. Sometimes Python's help is not help. Okay, print this list last. This is the list before. I changed position 0, 1, 2, 3. It used to have a 12, now it has 100. This is a permanent change and cannot be undone. That 12 is gone forever. So if you update a value in a list, just know that 12 is gone forever. Okay. Insert. Okay, so insert. To do insert, I had to pause to double check to make sure I have the right format. Insert is a function. So I would do something like this. I'll start with print this list just to show what it's going to be like before. And go this list dot insert parentheses location, let's say 1, -10. Now before I start, this is the list right here. Because I just changed one value. So it's going to go to position 1, 0, 1 right here, and insert that value, which is going to become the new. So let's run this and you can see. -10 is the new position 1, and it shoves everything over so it doesn't get rid of anything. The update overwrites it. Insert puts it in that position and then shoves everything else to the right. If you want to insert at the end, you could technically do position -1, but there are better ways to do it, which we'll go into pretty soon. Okay. Remove. So let me just make a note here. Inserts a value at the given index location, shoves the rest of the list to the right. Okay. Remove. Permanently removes an item from a list, then pulls the rest of the list in, so there is no empty spot. Okay, so again, print this list, and the format for this uses the word del, which del, if you may or may not remember, was one of those keywords that you can't use as a variable name. This list, I'm going to delete 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to delete position 3, which should get rid of that -8. Print this list. This list. So before that, it's there. I'll get rid of the -8, and this is all now pulled in so that we don't have a blank spot. So remove will permanently remove an item and then pull the list in. The list is now shorter. That's important when you're dealing with length. And then finally for the basic ones, append. Append adds an item to the end of the list. This is useful if you don't want to fiddle around with how long the list is. Append is the most commonly used method of building lists. Okay, so print this list for before. This list dot append parentheses 25. Print this list. The reason why, by the way, insert and append are functions. That's why they get parentheses. Don't confuse those with indexes. Indexes of a list are square brackets. These are functions. So I'm going to take the list and stick 25 at the end of it. That's what append does. Just as a note, empty lists exist. Use that square bracket with nothing in there. So this list is empty. I can print this list is empty. And then I can do something like this list is empty dot append 12, which will stick a 12 at the end of it. Printed the blank empty list. Now it's got 12, and you can keep appending to get to the end. Okay, so that is append. Now we'll talk about slicing. Slicing uses a colon. So slicing, print this list. So slicing is, instead of taking a single item from a list, like that, let me put a thing here, indexing. Oh, that's retrieved, never mind. Instead of doing a single item from a list, slicing will take multiple items from a list. So I can do, say, print this list, square brackets, let's say position 2 to position 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 things in there. So that's going to take this list, which is this one, start at position 2. Go ahead and do it. Start at position 2 and end before position 5. 2, 3, 4. This would be 5. So like other things, it will not include the end one. So it's list name, starting index, colon, ending index, where ending index is not included. So I could do print this list from, say, position 1 to 4, and it should print, that's 0. 1, 2, 3, this is 4, so it's not going to print 4, so it's going to print -10, 6, 100. And that's slicing. Slicing can also have no definitive beginning or end. You can also do slicing without a specified beginning or end. So print this list 3 colon and just leave it blank after that. You can see that took position 0, 1, 2, 3, starting at 3 to the end. This starts at position 3, and goes to the end of the list. Similarly, I can do print this list, colon 3. 0, 1, 2 doesn't do 3. This starts at the beginning of the list and goes to position 3. Does not include the ending in index 3. That is slicing. That's useful again at times when you might know where you want to start, but you want to go to the end, or you want to go from the beginning up to a point. So it's nice shorthand for that. Okay, and finally traversing. Traversing is something we've actually done before. Oops, don't need this. I clicked it twice. Traversing. You traverse a list with a for loop. So print this list, and then I can go for I in this list, print I. It's going to go through this list one item at a time. 3, -10, 6, 100, 5, 9, 25. Notice this is an element that it's printing, not the list, because there's no square brackets. And you can do things with it. I can do, say, instead of print I can then do, I don't know, for I in this list, print I minus 5. 3 minus 5 is -2, -10 minus 5 is 15, etc. You can also do this with a sliced list. For I in this list, let's go from 3 to 6. Print I. The last thing there is a 20. Position 0, 1, 2, 3, it's that 100. 4, 5, so the 100, the 5, the 9. This is 6, and we don't include the end one. Okay, and that is traversing a list. That is the basics of lists, and we're going to go ahead and end there for this video.